While we are not really a fan of getting on an adventure in some of the spookiest places on Earth, we are sure a fan of mysteries. And so, at Mystery Amuse today, we have researched and picked up some of the real places on Earth that seem to have come straight out of a horror movie. So get ready with your cameras and ideas as we direct you to these terrifying places on our planet. If you find yourself to be amused, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Mystery Amuse. Number 1. Bhangar Fort, Rajasthan, India. An archaeological site today, Bhangar Fort is pseudonym by some the House of Ghosts. These ruins were built in the 17th century, a perfect backdrop with fort walls, bazaars, havlis, royal palaces, and numerous temples, with 3 grand floors and with ghostly legends, is all that you need for a horror movie that features the ancient realm. According to one story, the place is haunted due to a magician, Singhania, and a princess, Ratnavati, who rejects his advances. According to legend, when she tossed away the enchanted oil he had hoped would make her fall in love with him, it transformed into a boulder and crushed him. However, not before he cursed the palace and doomed its citizens to death with no chance of rebirth. Another legend holds that the fort was cursed by a local ascetic whose property was overshadowed by the fort's shadow, and if anyone tries to construct a roof for the fort, it will reportedly fall down. Number 2. Vega Onekin Sculpture Garden, Pirkkala, Finland. Vega, and whatever that surname is, was one of Finland's most well-known living contemporary folk artists, but he also lived a reclusive existence and seldom displayed his work in public. Instead, he constructed about 500 concrete sculptures in his backyard, creating a private sculpture garden. The largest exhibit is a collection of about 200 statues positioned in various yoga positions. The sculptures, which are purportedly all self-portraits, are undoubtedly frightening but not the spookiest elements. A variety of eerie individual statues, like a nun hiding behind bushes and a shrouded guy with long, outstretched arms, can be found in the collection. These characters' dark, sunken eyes and menacing grins, accessorized with real human teeth, are just what you need for your next horror film. Number 3. Chani Church, Beijing, China. This location, which is regarded as the most haunted spot in Beijing, and so remains vacant for all good reasons, has its origins still up for debate. The North China Union Language School, also known as Chani 81, was initially constructed in 1910 with the purpose of instructing missionaries from the West in Mandarin Chinese. The tallest building in Beijing's Choyangmen neighborhood housed a Catholic church from the 1930s until the 1950s, when the communist government took over the structure. According to a gory legend about the history of Chani Church, a Chinese National Party figure may have lived there in 1949. That tale didn't have a happy ending. If you decide to shoot here, you'll either encounter the mistress of a government official who committed suicide there after their breakup, or a trio of inebriated construction workers who snuck into the building and disappeared without a trace. Strangely, even in the summer, the temperature in residence is believed to be significantly lower than that of the rest of Beijing. Number 4. Sedlak Ossuary, Kutnhora, Czech Republic. It is a tiny chapel with a horrific interior that is beneath the cemetery Church of All Saints. Everyone wanted to be buried in the Sedlak Monastery cemetery after one of its abbots returned with holy soil from Jerusalem in the early 1300s and spread it over the graveyard. However, due to overpopulation, the old corpses had to be buried to create a way for new corpses. The abbots chose to make use of the excavated bones in true waste not, want not form. The challenging task of organizing the collection of more than 40,000 human remains in a visually striking manner was handed to a local Czech wood carver, František Rent, and it is evident that he succeeded. 4 candelabras, a family crest, and several bone streamers that descend from the ceiling are among the bony furnishings. The church's enormous chandelier, which features practically every bone known to exist in the human body, as well as some spooky cherubs for good measure, is just what you need for a great backdrop. Number 5. The Separate Prison, Port Arthur, Australia. Some of the hardest convicts from Britain were held at the Separate Prison in Tasmania's remote Port Arthur until the late 1800s. This panopticon-style jail building was modeled after the writings of British author Jeremy Bentham and thrived on torturously fully isolating inmates. It used a silent system in which inmates were hooded, held in isolation, and not allowed to communicate with anyone. Numerous convicts would murder their fellow captives, as painful as it could be. Instead of staying there any longer, they would prefer to receive the death penalty. It is alleged that dozens of hooded inmates still prowl the prison's halls at night, even though it is now a historical public museum, and a few of the 1,000 persons interred in the unidentified cemetery. These are some of the creepiest, most mysterious, and spine-chilling locations that we found suitable for our horror scripts. But these are not even a handful, and surely your city probably has its own horror site with its frightening legend. So, share that story in the comments with us. If you are still here, like this video, share it with your gang, and subscribe to Mystery Amuse for more of such thrilling mysteries.